Okay, you can go. We're live.
Like we're up. Looks like we're all here, so I'll call the meeting to order. Notice of this meeting has been published and posted in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act and the requirements of the town of Kiowa Island. We all got the agenda. The first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from February 4th. Hope you all had a chance to look those over. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Joan is moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Diane, thank you. Any further discussion on the minutes? All those in favor of approving the minutes, please say or signify aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Under old business, just to review the current season and virtual concerts and sort of update. I didn't know if Keely, Judy wanted to give an update on the Quentin's February 28th event.
Judy, you're on.
Judy, you're muted.
I would love to give an update as far as numbers, but Quentin has not gotten back to me. He's on the road and all. But he said he got a lot when I talked to him and asked him to get the numbers. He said he got an awful lot of requests for more people who didn't get it and everything, and lots of people who did get it but wanted to see it again. So he says he give everyone until 5 o'clock today. So that was good. He was very pleased with the feedback he got. And as I say, I should have the numbers, but Quentin's out day before yesterday. He was in Lafayette, Louisiana, and I have no idea where he is today.
I heard from Mary Johnson, who thought it was fabulous. So
Good. I'm glad she liked it.
yeah, she did.
Judy, you're saying that it's on our website until 5 o'clock today, right?
That's right.
Because we missed it because we were out of town helping our kids move, so we missed it so far.
Well, you better tell
right after the meeting.
Right after the meeting, you have to tune in. It's about an hour and a half. I was not expecting it to be quite that long. Mm-hmm. And it is it's all original music composed by Jeremy Wolf. And so, you know, if you were looking for a sophisticated lady, you might have been disappointed. But this was all Jeremy's stuff. So,
what were you going to say?
I was just going to say I don't have numbers like Judy said, but I will say that we in the 2 e-blasts that we sent out with links, the click-through rate was really good. It seemed like a lot of people were clicking through. I think it was like 140 clicks the first e-blast and then maybe 100 or so the second e-blast. So that's a good indicator. And then other people, of course, could have gotten it through our regular town e-blasts and through our website. So signs point to success.
And then, of course, it was on Quentin's website, and he sends out his e-blast list. I think is a slightly over 500, but that's people from all over. And I can see how somebody who's in St. Louis, Missouri, Jeremy Wolf. I'm not interested in Jeremy Wolf, but you know, I think when Quentin does his quintet, there'll be an even bigger crowd.
Yeah, I think you're right. And if you notice on his website, he did the Kiowa Island logo was there and pushed that. So all the things that we were looking for.
Oh yeah, and in his announcements and everything, he gave us plenty of credit, which is what he wanted to do and what we wanted him to do.
And Becky, so we've got CSO taping their concert in about 10 days or so, or
yeah. And so I wanted to ask how many people would like to attend the taping, you know, all distanced, and they're actually using either 2 or 3 of the big rooms at West Beach. So it's a big space. And if you are interested, possibly bring your spouse or something. I told them maybe 10 people or less might show up, and they have no objection to that. You have to wear a mask, of course, and sit far apart. But so how many people would be interested in going?
What time are they going to start rehearsing on Sunday, Becky, or taping on that Sunday?
What's that? Say
What
that.
time are they taping on Sunday, on that Sunday?
Oh, I need to look that up again. It's either 4, 3, or 4. And they
I
are
wrote it
rehearsing
it down when you told me.
and they are rehearsing twice on Saturday, but for the taping itself, that would be the real performance. I believe it's 3, and I'll let everybody know. So once again, how many people? I just want to make sure we have enough chairs.
Plus John,
1,
2.
so it looks like 4, and I'm going to be there. My husband's going to be there. It's about 6 of us, and that's fine. I don't know if you knew this, but Ken Lamb is going to make some remarks about the pieces, and also, and he does an excellent job of that. And he's also going to take a little interview with me to as part of the introduction, and also the thank yous for everything. So I'm planning to be there around 2 o'clock for that taping, and the whole thing's going to be available on our website on the 18th, correct? Keely?
Sorry, I'm checking the live stream on the YouTube and I mute myself. So that was, sorry, go on.
The 18th, right? Isn't that when it's available? Thursday after the taping, it's available to our audience.
So
Now,
Thursday,
we're also getting our audience to sign up for attending virtually. And so did they end up getting a link? I'm not sure about that.
so the way Kyle and I have it set up is people are registering with us, the town, right now, and then they will get emailed a link to the virtual concert hall and a password. And on all of the, and that'll get to them by 7 p.m. on the 18th. I'll probably send it at 6:45, and then people will have a few minutes to get it. And then in the confirmation email and the email giving them the password, I'm gonna have links to the Symphony's instructions like you wanted.
Okay.
The viewing instructions, when people get their confirmation email, it says we encourage you to read the Symphony's viewing guide with a link to it, because their guide was so in-depth. They have charts. It wasn't something that I would want to recreate because they put a ton of time into it. So I think directing them to the Symphony is best.
I think it should have gone live today, which means, Becky, and this is something we went, reading over the handbook that Keely drafted reminded me that we're all supposed to use the IKEA list to publicize the event. So that's something you might do, sometime this week or next week, just a little IKEA list that has the link to the town, which then links them through to register for the concert.
And does everybody that registers, do they have to have that special code that we have? People had to register originally and get the, no, we don't
No.
have to do that. Okay.
No.
So anybody can just do it.
Yeah, because our code was for Kiowa early access.
Mhm.
And we're not doing early access for this.
Okay.
We're doing it all on the same day.
Now, we had also said that after 1 week, we will let the Symphony also advertise it and make it available to all of their audience. But I think it would be great to expand the number of people on Kiowa that get a notice, like the Kiowa list or whatever.
And Becky,
In other
also
words, I'll put something on the Kiowa list.
the other lists are called Around Kiowa. It's
Right.
true.
And I've got it up.
Because
on
sometimes people will read it if it comes from a resident as opposed to the town. Not that people ignore what Keeley sends out, but you know,
Right.
people know you. So
Okay.
Judy, you're on mute.
I don't know how to put a link in my email to the towns, I don't know how to do that.
All you need to do is I can actually give you I can get the link for Quentin's and then send it to you so it'll be embedded, and you can just put that in your communication if you want to send something out. Okay.
Okay, well, I don't need to do anything. Yeah, for Quentin's, I do, yes. Yeah, that's good. I would appreciate that, because I asked Keely to send another email out, because I normally put things on IKEA and all, but I didn't have the way to get the link on there, so I'm technically challenged.
Send that to you.
Possibly you need to send that to me too then.
I will do that.
I mean,
Not a problem. I can do a nice little click here and it'll be automatic. So I can send it to you. And Judy, nothing, I mean, we don't have any more information about Quentin's next concert, but everything's still
Everything,
fine.
it's in the can, waiting to go.
Okay, great. Small Glories, April 8th, that's the rescheduled date. The agent gave me Carla's email, so I'm gonna email her. I'm gonna try to connect her with you, Keely, so you can get the logos sent to them, and I'll sort of assess their progress, and hopefully they're rehearsing and getting things together. So
Is it April 10th? Is it Saturday, April 10th?
what is it, April 8th or 10th? I couldn't remember.
Saturday, April 10th.
April 10th, sorry, okay. I have April 8th, something else is going on in my head. Yeah, I have it on April 8th. Yeah, I just don't have my glasses on. Any other old business? Okay, new business, finalization of schedule and venues. That's been interesting so far. And as Keely and I have sort of looked at this stuff in talking to Barbara Steele, there's been some changes, and even I got some correspondence today from Barbara, which we'll talk about. One of the problems in West Beach right now is they have a lot of, obviously, a year's worth of canceled events from this year, or since a year ago, and they already had booked concerts or events from conferences from 2021-22. So it's a very tough year for space at West Beach. Things are really backed up. And this is especially true for after January. And the other thing is, she had some difficulty with her salespeople because they didn't want to commit to us even reserving the entire ballroom at full price if next week they got a conference that was going to book 4 days. And they said, we really want to leave things open as long as possible so we can get a 4-day conference, as opposed to giving it even at the regular rate, which was $2,500. It is now $3,000 for West Beach for the ballroom, and that was the correspondence I received today. And that's going to be again for events that are 6 months out. But I think she's having some difficulties in sort of managing that with her sales force, which is going out and trying to sell 3 or 4 days at a time at West Beach. I don't think this is going to be an issue after this year. It's just because of the double bookings. She explained to me that it's been so hard. And that's one of the reasons why it looks like the November Symphony is going to be at Freshfields and not indoors. So that's one of the first aspects of it. But let me share my screen and sort of show you what we've got. Can you all see that?
Yeah.
So we're doing pretty good on confirmations and spaces. We've got the jazz orchestras confirmed for West Beach on the 15th of August. Marantz is going to do the Gershwin on October 3rd. Becky just confirmed the 17th with Pure Theater, and we're going to be talking about, you know, the particular play that they're going to be presented. And Becky, at some point we talked about the possibility of West Beach, but it's just not available almost any time in October.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
so we're going to go ahead
these
with
the plays they're suggesting are plays that they've been doing this year virtually, and they also travel with some of them, and they're mostly two-person plays. So it's not a very big
Yeah,
set, and Turtle, I think it's just fine for it.
Eric, we've got on November 2nd, and we had originally had that. I've got both Church of Our Savior and Turtle, and they're both available, and we've confirmed it with the church. So I'm thinking, Richard, that's probably where we're going to do it.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay. Well, that's confirmed too. The Symphony is the interesting one because I haven't been around. I haven't seen an outdoor concert in November at Freshfields. So you guys who have been with the Arts Council longer than I do and remember tents and such can talk to me about that. But
Well, could I start out by saying, yes, it's not ideal. And Mary Johnson was the one who really pushed to get it out of the tent because she wanted more of a true Masterworks kind of concert. But we haven't tried to do that in the tent yet. Also, the weather is sort of iffy, but I have to say that weather is changing these days, it seems like. And the last couple of house tour dates, maybe 3 in a row, have been pretty darn nice weather. Unlike the last tent one, which was maybe 4 or 5 years ago now, when it was cold, windy, and the tent clanged, not necessarily to the rhythm of the music, and was distracting. Plus, the musicians almost wouldn't perform, even though we had heaters in the tent. But we've been able to get nearly 500 people in a tent there. And I don't see the possibility of any other place unless somebody else has an idea. I don't think we're going to be able to get West Beach.
About East Beach, is that being used at all?
I asked David about East Beach. Is it still standing and possible? No. So I think we're just going to have to go with this one more year and try it. And maybe we can find a tent that doesn't clang. And the Symphony has said, we'll talk about it with you later. And they're not balking at the whole thing. We'll make sure there are plenty of heaters and go back to this for 1 year. And maybe the following year we can get West Beach.
Becky, I tell you though, that this is the 2nd year in a row that we've not been able to get the conference center. We couldn't get East Beach the year before last because we had to do it at the sanctuary. Neither the sanctuary or West Beach was available. So if we knew the tour of homes in advance, and if it's something this is going to be on our schedule, this is something we might want to reserve a little further than, you know, what we're doing now, which is,
Well,
you know, 8 or 10 months.
The resort let us reserve it farther
Paying
ahead.
full price, yeah.
Paying full price, okay. But I was one of the ones that was very, very much against the tent after that last concert we had. I thought the tent was going to collapse.
I
And
truly thought I was going to die. I was looking
Yes.
for escape routes.
yes,
It was a horrible, horrible.
we left. We got out and
Yeah.
left. It was just
I know.
absolutely horrible.
You guys
And
are not
I think
inspiring my
that-
confidence here.
I
No.
think Becky is not remembering that Ken Lamb was not here for that concert.
I know.
Neither was Kyle Lane. And I think when the musicians find out, we're gonna have some balking.
Well,
I'm sure you all have looked for alternate places. I would just leave no stone unturned. No, is there anything else we can do? Because we pay a lot for that. We've got super musicians with great programming, and the quality of the sound is not good. Plus the tent. Seriously, it felt like it was life-threatening. It was that bad. So
I don't remember it that badly. I was sitting in the front and making announcements and stuff, so I wasn't as upset, but I didn't like the clanging and worried about the coldness. So I think we have turned over all the stones, and I would hate
Stephanie, you were going to say something?
the concert.
Seabrook,
Sorry.
Seabrook.
Go ahead, Stephanie.
I was going to say, Becky, if you guys do continue to move forward with that, you might talk to them about the type and quality of tent that they rent, because there are different levels of that. And I know that tents are expensive. And so usually people are looking for the bare minimum to cover the space that they need for the minimum requirements. But it is something that you can look into with the rental companies. It'll be at a higher price, but if you are forced to do it outside, it might be worth taking the step up and upgrading the tent structure to alleviate some of that.
Yes, because we've all been in tents where they were doing wedding receptions or something that were amazingly substantial and large and so on. So yeah, that's true. The other question, though, would be if we are paying for the tent, because in the past, when we did have it in the tent, that was a part of what we paid the Symphony. They paid for the tent out of that. Now we're paying the Symphony more for a higher quality program and more musicians and so on, but we haven't said out of that you have to pay for a tent. So can we afford to pay for the tent?
That's something I wanted to bring up during this discussion, because it's not just the tent, it's also heaters, the stage,
Sides.
chairs. We're still going to need to do some sort of lighting. So I mean it, and
Wait,
And
some of
sound
that,
equipment.
we need to know what the Symphony actually is prepared to, because the lighting we need the details on what all is needed to be able to really price that out.
Maybe we need to change the date to a day that we could get West Beach.
It sounds like there's no date we can get West Beach. That's
Well, I thought the November concert's connected to the tour of homes. That's the whole point,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
yeah.
I'm not
And
sure can we change the tour of homes?
One year we did get them to change it from a Saturday to a Sunday. It wasn't their favorite thing to do, but because of the concert venue, they did change it. And
What were you going to say, Richard?
Oh, and Becky asked earlier, and I was thinking of it too. Has Seabrook been ruled out?
well, that's not large enough for the
Cultural event too, so we're supposed to be doing those in Kiowa because of the funding. Isn't that right, Stephanie and Keely?
That's correct. And
Oh,
plus
so we
the
have to
house
do it
tour
on
is on
Kiowa.
Kiowa,
Yeah. Hmm.
right? Becky, there's no tour, there's no houses on Seabrook being part of the tour.
The houses are on Kiowa as well. And by the way, if we want to always plan ahead, the house tour is always the first Saturday in November. So that's what they're planning again. And again, but it's not too late to change it to Sunday. Should West Beach be available on Sunday? Or
I can certainly check on that. Yeah, I mean that because I didn't know that was I didn't know we could change the date. I thought that date was set in stone. So I could certainly go back to Barbara to see if
That's the easiest.
Another thing to think of though, is this change is, will that give the symphony enough time to set up West Beach? If the and for whatever's happening on Saturday to be taken out, so that the symphony can come in and get things in time and set up in time. And it's a logistics situation.
They were able to do it in 2019 at the Sanctuary. They weren't given any extra day
That's
to come
right.
in there. So I think they could do that.
They really have great staff, and they can move in quickly. Usually, yeah.
Well, that's an option. Let me check on the possible dates, and maybe could they even move it not only to Sunday but to the next weekend? Becky, would that be possible?
If you ask and you get that approved, maybe. But the house tour also worries about the weather, and so the farther into November it goes, the more they worry that the weather won't be desirable for a house tour. So that's part of it as well.
Well, let's check, and we'll see if we can do option B or C, whatever that might be.
Okay.
Continuing with the program, then we've got Howard Blackwell at Seabrook in November, on November 18th. Jody was able to confirm Burning River Brass on the 17th. So that'll be basically our Christmas event, and that'll be at Holy Spirit. Judy was able to confirm Liquid Pleasure, and that'll be January 14th, which is about the same time we've had it in past years. And right now I'm pretty confident that we'll be okay for the January events at West Beach. And as I said, we just got confirmation from Barbara today in terms of the prices in terms of 6 months out. So as long as we're okay with that, and Keely looked at the budget today, and we think with some savings here, we'll be able to cover the extra costs. We've got Quentin's first and second concerts mid-January and then mid-February. Charlton Singleton 9 days after that on the 22nd, and all those are at Turtle Point. And then Quentin's last concert at 5 p.m. on the 13th of March. 17th, Joan, that's when we've tentatively got Columbia City Ballet.
Well, they're definitely available. Yeah.
Okay, so is that confirmed as far as you know?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. We're confirmed at West Beach. Jody's working with the young artists in College of Charleston for the 20th of March. Is that right, Jody?
Yes,
Is she?
they're holding that date.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure when their spring break is.
Yeah, we worked around that, so that's fine. They have no idea what they'll be able to do, of course, at this point, but they're excited about doing something.
Then Symphony's spring concert, and we do have Holy Spirit for that on the 27th of March. Benjamin Beelman on April 1st is confirmed at Church of Our Savior. We've got the Brubeck Quartet on April 6th at Seabrook. Conrad on the 18th at Seabrook also. Carla Bonoff's a problem. We couldn't get routing in September or October, and so now we're looking at April, which is our really busy month next year, it looks like. So I still don't have a definite date, and I've got to avoid Easter, so that I may have to go back and because West Beach is the problem, so we may have to schedule her at Turtle Point, which would be smaller, but it's a cultural event now, so we've got to do it in Kiowa. I can't go to Seabrook on it, so there's some restrictions with what I can pull off. So I'll, as soon as I know, I'll let you guys know. Blues by the Seas at Freshfields on the 24th, Piccolo Preview, May 1st at Holy Spirit. And Jody and I were waiting to schedule the Charlestones to see if what else was on the calendar. And Jody, our light months now are September, October, and January. So as you go back and schedule, those are the ones that I would suggest. We don't have a lot going on those months. So, just taking a
Well,
look at,
seriously, they say whenever, and they're local. So if you want to schedule them for the hurricane months, that's probably a good idea.
yeah, right now, just in terms of load, we've got one event in August, none in September right now.
Okay.
2 in October, 3 in November, 1 in December, 2 in January, 2 in February, which is our lightest February we've ever had. Usually February is really, really heavy. 4 in March, and it looks like probably 5 in April and
Wow.
1 in May. So that gives you an idea, Jody, in terms of when they could go.
Well, let's try for September. I think that would be a nice kickoff to the season. They're popular with a lot of people. They can do just a wide variety of music. So I'd be happy to see if they got a good September date that matches a good September date of ours.
Would that be a Sunday?
I don't know. Do you think that's best for them?
Most concerts are on Sunday.
That would work. But since we're flexible, you pick, Jody, and see what we can get, and then I'll check with the church. So that's my venue report. Sorry it took so long. Are any questions or anyone see anything problems with anything?
I don't see any problems, and I don't have a question, but I do have a thank you. Being able to pull that up on my screen instead of trying to look at it on my iPad is very helpful. Thank you, David.
And as hard as it all was to schedule, it's remarkable that, we've done as well as we have given the situation we're in. So kudos to you.
I was very pleased. And I really like the fact that we took February to do this. I have to say, this calendar that we established, because usually we didn't finalize this stuff until March. And it's really a problem waiting that long to work with these folks, and having that extra month was really, really beneficial. So I appreciated that. Keely, do you have anything to add to any of this in terms of venue or dates or times or things?
No, not really. I'm just nervous about this symphony situation. I just want to get this locked up, and the Freshfields thing it does seem like a daunting task. All the things that are necessary, and I wasn't here when we did that.
Oh, well, Keely, they did it all, actually. And it was around $5,000 for everything.
For all the materials, and they did the chairs, the stage, the heater.
They ordered it. And however, if we have to do it, I'm certainly willing to work with that, because I've worked with the rental people before, and work with them to how to do it. So don't worry, it's not. We did it for years, actually. Right.
That's what Stephanie said. It also sounds really pretty. Like when you get a pretty day, that would be lovely to do. I have a question about the tent. Did it have sides all the way around it, or just where the symphony is?
Yes.
All the way.
And there was a flap on, I think, just one side, which was the doorway. However, people in the back, somehow or other, what I recall is that people spilled out the back, and I'm not sure.
They had that open so that the sides came with it, but someone had pulled the sides back and tacked them.
And we've actually polled the people inside as to where they were from and all that sort of thing. So that's how we know that there have been as many as 500 at this concert.
And then there are the people who bring their lawn chairs and sit around the outside.
And all theater style seating, right? No tables, just seating.
Not tiered at all, right? So it means no.
What do you mean?
The worst thing about it, outside of the fact that the tent is a problem and can be blown down, and Jody and I were afraid for our lives and all this, that, and the other, the sound is not good. It's not a live. It doesn't sound like a live concert. They've got sound equipment and everything, but
did they rent a shell for the stage, Judy? Because that really helps on an outdoor concert.
No,
Really?
I don't know that a shell would fit under the tent.
Right. No, it's absolutely not the best, but what
Absolutely.
else can we do except be positive and hope for the best?
Well,
That's
I share Keely's concern because it's approaching 15% of our entire budget. So if we have a weather event, that's huge. I mean, so
And we have not in recent years, but we have canceled events. That's one of the reasons we stopped having events during the summer at
Night Heron.
Night Heron Park, because we had to cancel so many.
But November, early November does not tend to be a bad weather time, other than it could be chilly. It could be drizzling a little bit and
It could be hail.
windy.
we could have one of our once in a century floods that we've seemed to have 4 or 5 times in the past couple of years.
But I do agree with Becky. The last few years, it's been one of the best days of the year.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'll check on other dates and see if we've got some flexibility there, because I agree. I'd much rather have it indoors. So we'll see.
I think it would be far, far superior. And talk about floods. I can remember when I was getting my hip replaced. That was in the flood thing, and we actually were not sure that we were going to be able to get to the hospital to get the surgery done.
It's usually been end of September, early October.
It was October.
October, yeah, 2015. So is there no exception or any exception or plea that we could make for Seabrook if it is in fact available?
Unless we move some things around, that would be the only way. We'd have to sort of look at our schedule and move some things which might be currently.
Yeah, but that's a cultural event. We can't have that.
I know that. I'm saying, is there no exception to be made?
Don't
you think Seabrook's way too small for?
I have an objection to having a symphony concert at Seabrook. They have symphony concerts at Seabrook, and they don't let Kiowa people come. And I think that stinks.
Well, I do too, but I think that's a different issue. I would prefer to.
And I don't think they've got an indoor spot. I don't think the room is big enough.
Well, I don't think it's appropriate after a tour of homes at Kiowa to go to Seabrook for a concert.
No,
it's kind of awkward.
It's too
you can
far.
die in the tent with me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't even like to drive out there.
David,
yes. Why
don't you put some knee pads on and go over and really make a plea?
A plea for West Beach?
Yeah.
Well, I can't because there's a conference already scheduled in there. So unless I kick them out, and I can't do that.
Then Becky, we got to move the tour of homes to another day.
Well, that's a CSOL issue, but
I
can talk to them. They're just about to have a whole new board starting in May, but so I don't know.
Is that who arranges that, Becky? Is that who I would get in touch with, or would you do that? Becky? Why don't you see if they've got flexibility, just in terms of dates?
Yeah.
And get back to me, and I'll check on availability.
And tell the CSOL that this may mean whether or not the concert can be held in conjunction with a tour of homes.
Ouch.
Yeah.
I would hate to.
You want to do it on the telephone, right?
Start separating these two because.
Yeah, I know.
We fought for it so long to stay.
I know.
And we really enjoy it after the tour too. It's.
Mm-hmm.
So have we beaten this dead horse, everybody?
Yeah, I think so.
Good. All right. So Keely was making some changes and sort of re-editing the member handbook, which we sent out. And I had suggested a couple of changes after I'd seen a draft, especially in lieu of the contracted services that we're going to be doing this year, some wording changes. But I think what she's done is a really good orientation manual for new members.
Right.
And as I think Jody mentioned, for those of us who have not who had a year off and completely forgot what we're supposed to do for each event, which includes everybody and me especially. I just hope Keely is not too intimidating for new members who have to look at that and say, geez, do I want to get involved with these people?
The whole thing is pretty intimidating for new members. We've had members, prospective members come and you can almost see their jaws drop and their eyes pop and say, I don't think so.
But for me, it's a great checklist of things to remember. And the contact list has been updated in terms of who's at Holy Spirit, for example. We've got a different parish secretary. So if you guys can look at it over the next few weeks, and then if there are any changes or things that you think that we've left out, if you could email both me and Keely, and then we'll try to finalize it at our April meeting, if that's okay. Great. Keely, anything else to say about that?
Yeah, just one. So on David's version, it didn't highlight, but this is one of our official documents. It's the roles of the Arts and Cultural Events Council. It's on page 5, and I wanted to draw attention to these suggested edits. Can you see the highlight?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, just those two things, because that would be kind of an amendment to this document. So if you can just make a note of that, to take a look at that, and
Page 5.
Page 5. But then everything else should be good. And like David said, if you have comments, let us know.
Got no correspondence, right, Keely?
Before you go on,
Yeah.
David, I wanted to say something about Pure Theater, because I was tied up a lot this month with my family, but Sharon Gracie has sent me the names of plays with a one sentence description. She's warned me about the ones that maybe have tough language. And she said that she can get the scripts for us, and of the ones that we think would be of interest. So I only got that this morning, that comment. So are there those of you who would be interested in reading the scripts for this? David, you probably would. Jody, myself. So that we can at least report to you all this a pretty good summary of which plays, and see which ones you think are appropriate, and then get back to everybody, and maybe we can decide by next meeting somehow. Okay.
Thanks for that, Becky.
Okay.
I should have asked, is there any other new business or any concerns?
Yeah. But that's a great thing you did, Keely.
Hopefully it'll be useful. But thanks, Joan.
I know it is
Individual-
kind of daunting, but it is very helpful, and you need people that join the Arts Council to know all of these things. And if they, are not the right fit, and then they aren't the right fit. Unfortunately, this committee is one of those,
Any individual member reports, committee reports? Under chairman's comments, the only thing I would, if you could, the other thing to do maybe this month is to find alternate event managers for the events that you are conducting for next season. So we'll put a column next to to all the events. So we'll have the manager as well as the alternate. And given various shoulders and other sundry illnesses, it's always good to have an alternate in travel plans. I just had to cancel all my South African May plans, and then it's now scheduled for September. So I'm just keeping my fingers crossed. We should have a vaccination poll as well in terms of commemorating. Hold your hand up if you've had one or two, okay?
I had a lot of reaction to the second one.
Did you?
Is that what Judy said too? You had a reaction to the second one, Judy?
Actually, I didn't, but Jim did. But yeah, the second one, first one, piece of
Yeah.
cake, except that my arm swelled up for about 4 or 5 days. But you know, that's nothing. Van, you have not had any vaccinations?
I have not. I got canceled.
Oh, boy.
I got postponed.
Well, you know, it was just on the IQ.
They ran out of doses.
Well, my first appointment was that way. Get a hold of the Roper outpatient at Freshfields. They got one for me right away.
Really?
Yeah, and people around here are getting them at, believe it or not, Walmart.
I have it scheduled now for Sunday at Harris Teeter
Good.
Great,
Yeah.
great.
Oh.
Good. Okay.
up in Mount
Now all
Pleasant.
of your health, now all of your vaccinations are documented on our YouTube.
All right.
Any other business for the good of the order? Keely or Stephanie? No?
Good to see you
All
guys.
right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you all very much. Should I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Thanks, everybody.
Adjourn.